I've listened to some of your podcasts, some a good few of them, and I'm fascinated with how you're able to draw people out and get your podcast going. So I'm eager to see how the discussion goes.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's wonderful. I love this world of podcasting is a magical place of just getting to the essence and celebrating who we are and what we're
Yeah.
doing and the unity of all of us together. So it's great to have this moment with you. And I want to begin as I always do with my conversations. Hopefully I can put this question to rest, but it's still prevalent. 5 years ago, this pandemic changed so much for all of us. How did you get through that era, that coronavirus era? And how has it influenced the way that you live and work today?
Hmm. I use this question when I interview people as well. It for me, what I got through it was about finding self, finding resilience, recognizing that in this chaotic world of digital era, that tomorrow is completely dependent on how you engage with today. And if you choose to be nothing, then you will be nothing. If you choose to be something, you will be something. If you choose to engage with people, they will know you. And if you choose not to, they won't know you.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do for a living. I'm going to
Mm.
put you at career day in a school. It's 11, 12-year-old kids.
Yep.
One of the kids wants to know what you do for a living. How do you answer?
Yeah. So I have the fantastic privilege. I've got a number of things I do, but the thing that is my marquee that I'm really good at is I work with business owners, CEOs, founders to make themselves to make themselves dispensable. Make themselves dispensable so that they can get themselves ready to sell the company and or go on holiday with their children and actually be on holiday with their children. I do that by figuring out what they should not be doing, helping them learn to step away from the things they're doing that they love doing that they should not be doing, and help them structure a team around themselves that helps them evolve and start growing and running the company as a team versus one person running the company. And that gives that person their life back. And if I can affect that one person properly and persistently, then that one person affects multiple people that work in that company with them. And the multiplication effect of net benefit growth is astounding.
So you're almost teaching in a psychology of them stepping away because when you're in control, because it's about power and control, once you relinquish that, it just makes it easier.
Well, what's fascinating with business owners is we're so busy trying to run our business the way we know it to run and the way we know it should operate. We're not focused on the fact that the small micro things we're doing today are causing alienation and relationship problems with our team members. They're causing distrust issues. They're causing rework issues and work abandonment, where people just say, well, I'm not going to do it because Andrew's going to do it in any case. So why should I bother doing anything? I'll just kind of I'll do as much as I know Andrew's going to be okay to kind of feel I've done something. Then I'll go. So we don't recognize it. And by the time we're so deep into it, not realizing that we are running the company and doing everything, we're so deep into it because we don't have our life. We don't have relationships. Professional is collapsed. Social friends are abandoned. Your network is gone. For the value I offer, the thing that I'm able to do to people is be in the room. I don't kiss and tell. I can have people talk about some very deep, dark stuff that is messing with them, current and that they're living now, or stuff that they've learned over the past 5, 10, 15 years of going from founder or small business owner into actually running the company is how do you help that person be in a space where they can actually hear themselves? I don't profess to carry any magic beans that helps anyone do anything different. I'm just really good at creating an environment that draws people out to talk about what's going on. And I have a good, fair life balance that allows me to ask some very difficult questions in very gentle ways. Often I'll ask someone, look, don't answer me this question, but based off of everything we've spoken about thus far, you don't have an answer for yourself, and you're doing yourself a disservice. So I'm going to ask you a question now, but don't answer me. I don't want to know the answer. You need to go figure the answer out. And when that business owner realizes that you are actually all about them, trying to help them find their own trees in their own forest, everything changes. The discussion changes, the trust changes, what they get into changes, their willingness, their willfulness, their desire to actually find their own bottlenecks, their own blockers is it's astounding. It's fascinating. It's fascinating watching someone go from I've got all the answers you're this outsider, you don't know nothing about me or my business, to where you can hear the people just downloading, just doing deep dive downloads.
But the hardest thing for most humans is to acknowledge that truth.
Yeah,
But once you do actually come to that place, and it can take a while, you
yeah,
embrace it and it'll make you a
yeah,
different creature.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it opens your eyes, right? It's once you can. I always talk to people when in my teams when we're leading when we're dealing with difficult situations, and be it political toxicity, golden children, whatever it is. I encourage people to touch the topic, because if you can touch it, then it's no longer this fable that you're trying to address. If you can touch it, it means you can talk to it. It means you can hear yourself. It means people can engage with you about it. And once you've touched it, you can't hide from it. You've now touched, it's there. You can't pretend, well, it's just my imagination. And then driving down and work and surrounding yourself with people that can actually help you work through it, help you listen to yourself, and then challenge your conventional thinking.
So, if when you were 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream job?
My dream job was, p police. I wouldn't say I had any level of great aspiration. I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be honest. I was kind of just floating around in the quagmire of life in South Africa.
So what was it about, like, by the time we're 3 years old, there's so many levels of our personality that are set. What was it about your upbringing that has allowed you to give these leaders clairvoyance to find their essence?
Yeah, so that is directly on my, so great, insightful question. That is directly on my mom. When I was born, I had a giant nevus on my face, which was cancerous, which resulted in me getting through many, 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 many operations. And being on the face, children can be wonderful specimens of life at a young age. But the interesting part was that the doctors that my mom took me to, engaged with me as a human being, and my mom refused to act as a translator. So the doctors were always talking with me. So I learned at a very young age to engage with very senior people as peers and recognize that they're human beings, and all they've got are ideas, suggestions. They've got a little bit of practice under their belt, but to try and push it forward. I then took that capability along with being super people aware because of a fight or flight, as things are happening around you, just self-defensive, just looking after myself. I learned to read situations, rooms, and people very quickly. So I can walk into a room and I can intuitively kind of do a profile lay of the land of what's going on in the room. And that was fight or flight. So that's something I taught myself without teaching myself. It's just something that I learned. And putting those two talents together put me in a position of loving people as they are, respect them as they are, engage with them as human beings, ask provocative, thought-provoking questions, engage with them, be mindful, be caring, be aware of them, and if somebody's being an idiot, to figure out how do I sidestep and get away from them as quickly as I can.
So let me ask you this. What is it, who has been that inspirational force? You mentioned your mom, but who has ultimately been that inspirational force that's guided you throughout your career, that's allowed you to find your place where you're at now?
So I will say a lot of the trajectory is based on my mom. I've had the privilege of having a lot of different life coaches. So I've grown through a lot of people who have helped me, who've come into my life at different points of time for different reasons, at different levels of intensity and different levels of human engagements. But if you say to me, who's the one person that course trajected me, who gave me the rope and allowed me to bungee jump versus hang myself. And every now and then I got the knot wrong. And she was always there as a net to, make sure there wasn't too much carnage. But I would say my mom, and then I've had too many life coaches to, pe people look at life coaches and coaches and say they're there for a long time, and I cycle through them as I learn from people. I would then move on. So I've been through an evolutionary set of life coaches who have helped me take on things that my mom may not have been able to seed in well for me, and then help me evolve beyond that. But if you say to me, Andrew, give me a person, I'm gonna have to say my mom.
So, if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you think is a good leader, that effectively executes not only their business but their life well, spend some time with them. Maybe it would help you on your journey. Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Yeah, so Two people I'd love to meet is just because of the leadership world, and I think they are puller heads on what they're just been fantastic at their at synthesizing leadership, and that is Simon and Renee from a leadership project. I'd love to be able to go and spend have a cup of coffee with either of them or both of them. From a impacting world point of view, um, uh, I'm not an engineer. I can mess with my Christmas lights outside the house and that, but my head doesn't think the way an engineer thinks. And it fascinates me the way people like Elon Musk and Apple, Steve Jobs, how those folk who at their best of times can be idiots and at their worst of times can be brilliant, um, brilliant human beings at evolving society, moving it forward, seeing something, seeing beyond the horizon. I think that engineering talent of being able to see beyond the horizon and have faith that what you're seeing beyond your horizon is actually there, and is that next step thing. I'd love to be able to meet with them, meet with Ellen.
The one thing about those two kinds of personalities is that they're true entrepreneurs and they had to overcome certain things that we may not even know about.
Yeah.
What was a client for you? What was a situation that you had to overcome that you thought was almost impossible, but it ended up working out and it made you grow in leaps and bounds?
Gosh, I've had many of them. Um, so when I was in high school in South Africa, um, I, in my last year, grade 12, so matric, I decided that I'd had enough of boarding school and I ran away from it. And I vanished for 2 weeks. Nobody could find me. And at that point, I was the beat down kid locked up in the boiler rooms, etc., etc. And and I decided enough was enough, and I had had enough. And I didn't know what I was running to. I knew what I was running from, but I didn't know what I was running to. Um, my mom took me when they eventually found me. My mom put me in front of a bunch of schools and said, "Right, go meet the principals, and you go decide what school you want to go to because you're clearly not going back there. Go figure out what you want to do." And then I met a principal. I don't even know the guy's name. It was at a high school close to where I lived in South Africa, and he said to me, "Andrew, you're just at the beginning of the problems that are going to come at you in life. How you force yourself and teach yourself to deal with what you've just walked me through will define your future trajectory." And he said to me, "You've got all of these things happening around you, but what you do tomorrow morning is completely up to you. How they affect you tomorrow morning is completely up to you. You've got a crap situation, you've been dealt a bad hand, and that is what it is. What you do with that hand tomorrow will defines you, not the fact that the hand exists. And the fact that the hand exists doesn't say that tomorrow is going to be a rubbish day. You make tomorrow a rubbish day if you allow it to be a rubbish day." And I picked that up as I eventually went back to the school and I saw it through and I had a fantastic end of the year. Um, but it taught me some fundamentals at a very young age. So it's 16, 17 years old. One, it taught me to, hiking from one side of the country to the other at 2 o'clock in the morning and how to look after yourself. I met the poorest of the poor who saw I'd not eaten for a week and they started feeding me and giving me their food. That was an eye-opener in terms of volunteering and serving for people who have nothing but will give everything. Um, and then how you deal with life. And I do a lot of coaching today. My mantra is plant seeds that will grow trees that you'll never sit under. And my words of advice I give to people is today is your day. When you put that right foot on the ground, no matter what's going on in your life, you decide what today is going to be. We've all got tough things that face us and physical, emotional, mental, all sorts of things that can be messing with us. But what happens today and how you move forward with today is up to you. And those are lessons that I learned from, gosh, years, decades, years ago, a long time ago.
Yeah. So was it always your dream to come to America? How did that happen? How did the
Yeah, so
move happen?
so in South Africa, America for us was the place to be. It was the American dream, the house, the cars, the family, the lifestyle. You could be what you wanted to be. If you have the guts and glory to go get it, it's there for the taking. It's there for you to go get it. Um, Yes, it had been a dream for a long period of time to come to the UK, to the US. I had a UK passport, didn't go to the UK. I my goal was to get to the US and to be able to live the American dream, and we arrived here in 2003.
So walking into the clients every day as a coach, you have to kind of get into their heads and their worlds, so to speak. How do you protect and ground yourself? Because you can get mired and stuck in that, and there's all these different syndromes and thoughts that can go through your head. But how do you remain focused and effective in your end mission?
I think the journey I had when I was a kid really helped me compartmentalize life really, really well. I'm abundance of energy. I engage with every new discussion like it is the first discussion of the day. I very seldomly allow the discussion we had 30 minutes ago to interfere with this discussion I'm about to enter into now. And if I can feel it is going to, then I will avoid it. So I'm always looking to say, when I arrive and meet someone, how can I be of the best service to them that I can possibly be? And that means I remove myself out of the focus of me and the lot of life I'm living, and I look at that human being and I say, what is the best value I can be to this person? What are the things that I can do that are most positively going to affect this human being in whatever way they need to be affected, not the way I perceive them to be need to be affected. What is it that I can provide, and how do I show up? How do I mirror them? How do I echo them? How do I listen to the words they're using that help me position myself into that? And when I get off of that call, I'll summarize the notes, summarize the call, and then I'll take the call and I'll literally pack it away. In terms of calming meditation stuff, I'm very involved with I put at the end of the year, I put 35,000 Christmas lights up, 200 songs. I've got a cul-de-sac, a radio station. I've got Meet All Strangers. So working on that through the year is a lot of work. I do woodworking as well. I build live oak, live edge woodworking furniture. So, wood and wiring, electricity is not something you can rush.
Yeah.
You work at the pace of what the physics of that world decide. And, if you're working with a piece of hardwood, you just have to sit there and sand. And just those mental moments of just working with the wood that you can't rush and you can't force it, and it's not going to change its mood. It's always just going to be that. You
Yeah.
can break it. So it allows you to zone in to the things that are around you and then just get into meditative, calming space, and then compartmentalizing. I think, and also really important, if I'm not ready for that next discussion, if I'm not going to serve that person well, or be able to be representative in that discussion correctly and not compartmentalize the previous discussions, then I'd rather ask the meeting to be moved, no matter what it is. I'll ask for the meeting to be moved because I think it's disrespect if I'm not able to contain myself and show up in the absolute best possible way for that person. It's not fair on that person's day because they're not part of what I've lived. It's not fair for me to now lose the opportunity to positively influence them because I'm so wrapped up in my own little world.
So if you had a dream tonight, ran into that young version of you that got the wisdom of this is the beginning of your issues, and you had a book in your hand and you
Mm.
gave it to that young version, and it's the story of your life, and you tell that version of you, this is how your life turned out. Would that young version of you believe it?
You probably said, I told you so. And I think I would put the opening quote over there is, stop trying to find the gold pot at the end of the rainbow. Life is about travel and about meeting people that carry different perspectives, views, and lives than you do. Get out there, travel, and live.
So, of all of the things that you've evolved to, more importantly, and accomplished and become, what are you the proudest of?
Father, husband, I've got two wonderful kids. I've got a great wife that runs the house. I've got two amazing kids doing very, very well for themselves. Um, and we've relocated into the US. When as with a number of your previous guests, when you relocate, whether it's from one side of the US to another or from one continent to another, you leave family behind. You leave legacy, you leave relationships. And as you get older, you get to realize that maybe you shouldn't have been as, there should not have been as much bravado, and maybe it actually was quite foolhardish for you to cut ties as severely as you did, in that youthful, energetic zest, love to learn and experience life.
So everyone has a perception of you, family, friends,
Mm.
clients, colleagues, everyone around you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Um, I'm someone who's got all the answers. I know what the fix is, but I know my limitations. I know when I need to open my eyes and calm down. I don't have an off button. I'm always on. My kids are like, Dad, just stop, just quit, stop already. Um, I love people. I care deeply for people. I think the more we can find people and the people that have the ability to positively affect other lives, I think the easier the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of society are going to be. And every small person that affects things. So I love people. I love affecting lives. I do what I can to help. I'm a pay it forward, pass it forward type person. I'm very opinionated. I don't suffer fools lightly. I can very quickly get myself into a corner to say, well, this person is great, but it's not somebody that I'm going to be, there's no long-term relationship there, and move on. And I'm very comfortable in who I am. I know my skin. I know myself. I know what I'm great at. I know what I suck at. I know what I'm really, really bad at. I know where I need help. And I know that I'm gifted to impact people's lives, and I love doing it. So I do it every day that I can muster it. If I'm not paid to do it, I volunteer to do it, and I have the privilege of volunteering and mentoring people from around the world.
And one way you do that is with your books. Talk to me about your books.
So I've got two books. The first one, kind of the love song, work love song, is Leading Magnanimously. So it's the book around leadership, and I try to write it as a textbook for if you are being an effective leader, what are the characteristics you would display? I try to get away from the theory of what a leader is and give some practical hands-on. So almost a textbook you can leaf over, mark up. If you're auditory, then listen to some of the TEDx talks. If you want to listen to somebody else's, some other life examples, then go to the Wikipedia pages and everything that I've got in there. And it's very much around leadership and how do you help build teams that go to bed on a Sunday night wanting to go to work on a Monday morning. And then the second book, You Decide. About 21 months ago now, I had a career pivot where I was like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. And I knew nothing. I knew 10 people in Atlanta. I was in proper trouble. I got complacent and lazy, and it was not good. And then for 20 months, I re-engineered, reinvented myself. And as I did that, I wrote the book on what I was doing, the tech I was learning, how I learned to sell myself without selling myself, how to build relationships with people. And 20 months later, 16 people that I did not know 20 months ago have changed my life more than most anyone in my life has.
Yeah.
I've got 100 people that have done something to help me from a revenue, from a relationship point of view. I've got 600 people that I didn't know 20 months ago who know me by name now, who know what I'm doing and know the journey. And that is in the You Decide book. So the target audience for the Leading Magnanimously is anyone being a manager or leader wanting to grow and figure out how do they get in front of themselves. And You Decide is about anyone 40 years and older. If you're comfortable in your world, get the book, take a read through it, and start working to build your network, your support base, your colleague base, your future base around you. Because if you don't, you're going to be scrambling when it hits you. And I meet, I don't know, 15 to 20 brand new faces every week. And at least 50 to 60% of them are scrambling because they got caught off guard. They weren't expecting it. And like me, they got comfortable. They didn't keep the network and that around them. So that's what You Decide is about.
So for those that are listening that are ready for the next step, they have questions, they want to hire you, get your books, any of the good business, where do they go?
Yeah, andrewbrummer.com. And that has a contact page. It's got the two books, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Andrew Brummer.
Okay. Andrew, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your wisdom, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate being here.
Thank you.